I never lied where I came from. Texas had its place for me to find a home deep in my soul. I must know the world as a whole.
Hi, I'm Carol Coburn and this is Creative's Cornerstone. Thank you so much for joining us today. You're not taken for granted, you're very much appreciated. And before I introduce today's guest, I just want to address some of the insanity going on in our part of the world today. I just want you to remember that impossible is just an opinion. It isn't a fact. And people say things are impossible all the time. And it's just not true. That's just their opinion. So don't forget that while people say we're not going back or we're not doing this or we're not doing that, remember that there is no going back. There's only moving forward. None of us are the same people we were years ago or decades ago. We're not the same people. We are empowered, we are strong, and we are driven. We as a people are driven to do what's right. So hang in, have fun, relax, gotta breathe, and sit back and enjoy Creative's Cornerstone, where today my guests are the incredible crew and producers and creators that dwell at KZSM Music Radio 104.1 on the local dial. And and if you're watching us from afar, you can still be part of KZSM by the stream at kzsm.org. Hi guys and welcome.
Ooh. Hi, Carol.
Hello.
Hey, Carol.
You guys, these are the three elite, okay? They're not going to acknowledge that.
Elite?
They're not going
Us?
to
No.
acknowledge that title at all because they're very humble. They're very incredibly service-driven community members. And with us, the furthest from me here on the right is Rob Roark. Say hi, Rob.
Hi, Rob.
Yeah, that never gets old.
I mean it. I'm following your directions. Come on.
And we've got Priscilla here in the center seat. Say hi, Priscilla.
Hi, Carol.
Thank you, Priscilla.
Or good night, Gracie.
No, we'll save that one for later.
Okay.
At the end of the interview, we can say goodnight, Gracie. And then we have got, to my right, Jeremy. Hi, Jeremy.
Hello.
Hi.
Thank you for having us.
You are AKA Ray Howard, though.
I am Ray Howard on the radio.
On the radio. All three of these wonderful people host shows at KZSM, and their service goes so much deeper than simply the responsibility of a show that they put out every week. Some have multiple shows that they wrestle and wrangle, and we're going to get the down low on all things KZSM today. So hang with me. We've got a lot coming up, and we're going to give you a quick music video because you know that's what we do here at KZSM. We celebrate all genres of creativity as well as the stories and the amazing productions of the little music videos that our indie artists give you. So hang tight, cue David, and we are going to be listening to some and watching an amazing music video. Hang tight.
It's 20 minutes late. You guys.
No, we didn't. We didn't get pulled over.
We make it on time if we made the right turns, guys.
I know a shortcut. We would have been there by now.
Right. Whatever.
And we're running. We're already running late. We're running.
No joke. We're running late.
Hey George, keep your eyes on the road. No, eyes on the road. Look, if you're gonna drive. I think it's back there. Look, keep on looking at the road. Why we even do this? Come on, man. I tell her she is. That's cool.
What's up? What's all this ruckus about?
We're not ruckusing. No one's ruckusing.
Y'all remember the one rule we had, right? We had one rule. Absolutely no drama.
She drives a mean green hippie machine. Flowers in her hair, she's a tie-dye queen. There ain't a single bone in her body that's mean. The cutest little girl that you've ever seen. She's no drama. She's no drama. Purrs around town like a satisfied kitten. Steps out of the van come on, baby, let's get in. There's no drama. There's no drama. Well, I wanna get to know her, take the time to show her. She is moonlight on a dark night. She is good news, she is alright. She's no drama, she's no drama. Every time she's out, I want her around. Turn the Grateful Dead on, she loves this sound. Close my eyes to see her bare feet on the ground. This trippy little hippie that I finally found. With no drama, she's a no drama. Ooh, not even a little.
Watch the road.
You just hit something.
Hey, Allie.
No, you did something. So,
Hey guys.
Hey,
hey,
Allie.
Allie. Hi.
Dude, I love you guys.
I love you too. Except we would have been there already.
No.
Not even a little.
I hope you enjoyed that. I know that we did. We're going to go ahead and dive into the shows that these folks create and produce for you. We're going to start here with Rob at the
Oh,
end.
you start with me first.
Well,
right?
that's because you've got the most to say about all of the different things that you do. You wear many hats.
Okay,
at
so what do we want to?
KZSM.
We want to start with the Wiz coming at you on Monday nights, playing nothing but vinyl confessions, brothers and sisters and children of the night. Yes, all we want to do is listen to those hisses, scratches, and pops that tells you it's legitimate vinyl. So it's an old guy comes in with a stack of different vinyl records. We open the door. We have people come in from at the campus, and people come in off the street, and they bring in their records, and we hang out for 2 hours, just like you were in your old living room playing records, and talk about this one, and hey, well, what about this one next? And maybe somebody gives us something new, and the only rule is it's got to be vinyl records.
Super, super. Wow. That's really kind of bold to be that improv, because you don't know what's going to happen through the doors. What do you do if nobody shows up? You just play the pops and the hisses yourself?
Yeah, I just play, but
got a play set
I've
lined up?
usually got one or two people. I've got Evan that has joined me from the community. Every night he will tramps up there, even in the rain the other night, comes up in there and hangs out for a couple hours, and then goes back down to, he lives over on the other side of the railroad tracks on Guadalupe, and goes back down his 4 or 5 blocks, and that's his connection with us.
How fun. How fun. Y'all, this station is out of San Marcos, Texas, and it is such a cool, vibey station. Used to be very bohemian. It's becoming more present since the remodel, right? It's a little bit less less that. It's kind of split, actually, right? I mean, it's
Well, you've got our green room, sitting area. You can just hang out, and that's all right there on one side. And that's also our overflow where we have set up for our bands.
Right.
And we can mic our bands and have that area there. So
it's very comfortable, very interactive, and it's a storefront. So you have got, and it's right down the road from Texas State University, which really plays into a lot of interaction and a lot of fun. I know that when I was doing my Friday night show live, it was so much fun having those kids come down the sidewalk and tune in to what was happening inside the studio, because it plays out on the speakers. And it's a lot of fun interaction through the windows. You have people stop and engage and just be part of.
They come in after we had the parade yesterday downtown for Veterans Day parade. And we had people popping in and just, hey, what's going on? And then the kids would come by and play in the bubbles. We've got the bubble machine next door at Daughter of the Wild. And so we've got just to watch the kids come up with their parents and do that. So.
The Bubble Maker. All right, so you've got that show, The Wiz happens. What else you got going on there in the studio from Rob here?
Oh, Lord. We've got We the People, which is local politics. We've been doing that for 8 seasons now. And that actually goes back to the old SMTX days there in the studio with Dave when we had the video there. So it goes back to about 2010 that show's been going.
Wow, yeah. And that's local politics. Do you also handle national?
Try to stay away from the national. It's about where you can make a difference.
Right.
And you can make a difference at your local politics. You can make a difference at your regional. But once you get past the Texas, your local Texas representatives, your Texas senators, you're not going to make that much of a difference.
Right.
And
right.
so,
other than utilizing your voice to vote.
Yeah.
So that's really, and I followed your show, and it was always interesting, the guests that you would have in, and it promotes service, it promotes action, it promotes you getting involved and making a difference and doing things, which is so empowering to so many people. It's wonderful to hear that.
And to be educating people on what is going on out there, but also showing about entrepreneurialism, about startups, about nonprofits, and giving people a voice is important.
Yeah, it's not even political. I remember, the Jason Landry case, if you're not familiar with it, is a Texas State student that went missing several years ago in December. And I remember one time coming into the studio to prepare for my show, and you had someone in there that was part of a search and rescue effort, and she began her
journey.
Yes, with a family member that went missing, and now she goes out and helps other people, and to this day, still with a group of people, goes out and searches for Jason. I mean, so it's just about getting involved and how to jump in and where you can help. So that's really awesome.
We have folks come into the studio during the week, just come in off the street. Hey, let's sit down and let's talk about what's going on. We have bands that come in and we'll have for 1 hour shows. So we've got all sorts of different ways right now that I'm involved with. The one fun one right now is working with Texas State intern. He is Maximus, will be graduating here in December from Texas State with a degree in recording technology. And he has helped to develop this show where people send us in an MP3 or a WAV file anywhere in the country. We send them out a quick blurb, and it's called It's What's New. And so we have anywhere from, on average for a 2-hour show, we've got anywhere from about 20 to 40 songs that we've got every week that we have from across the country that people get to hear their song on the radio for the first time.
And that's so wonderful because there's so much new indie music coming out everywhere. everywhere.
I
And
mean,
what a
we
great,
get people here from the Austin area. We get people from
all over.
Lockhart, and we get folks there from San Marcos. But I get people from up in Livonia, Michigan, that they send me in something every week.
Exactly, and the beauty of streaming worldwide.
Yeah, we've got Cardiff, California. We've got this old gentleman over there that they have that Bakersfield, California. They've been over there doing country for years. And they are sending me in, and they've got all their friends and everyone sending in music that they tune in every week. So a little place in Texas has got an influence all across the country. I gotta love it.
It's a little station that can.
It's nice to have, we are independent, and so we can play people that send us music. We can do that stuff. We really only have to answer to the community members.
Right.
So we have some freedom.
That is so incredible. It's so wonderful.
There's no
It's such an
algorithms.
opportunity for the indie people to just be heard.
Well, there are no algorithms. It's not set. It's different people, but that we choose and pick what goes on. But then a lot of times, they send it in, we get it on. I don't listen to it ahead of time. And so
That's really bold.
Oh, it is. Believe
Oh my
me.
gosh, I remember the only time I ever had a guest that I had not listened to and invited in was the biggest mistake that I've ever made. It was pornographic.
Oh man, that's a little harder
We got
than
3 words into his first song and we stopped right there.
yeah.
Well, before we had our license, when we were streaming and that was not within our internal rules, but we weren't breaking any laws. Now we really have to
We were
work.
breaking the law of taste on my show. That's what law we were breaking. My show, my rules, and it was. And we got 3 words into his first song and we called it.
And we've had to drop a couple.
Yeah.
And it was like, no, folks.
So that's really
It has
bold.
to be radio edit, and that's one of the things we say ahead of time to everyone.
Right.
Is, hey, make sure it's a radio edit before you send in. You don't? Here you go. You either send me back a radio edit, or you don't get your music played here on the show anymore.
And we're going to discuss a little bit more about the fact what it means to be an independent station and the journey to KZSM. As soon as we get through talking with the guests here and learning about their shows, I really want to deep dive a little bit into the story of KZSM and how it's come to be what it is today. So next up, we've got Priscilla here.
Priscilla is the host of Bookmarked, the very originally named book show.
Yes.
And my guests are, sometimes it's the author, sometimes it's someone who's an expert in that particular area. I read Louise Erdrich's Native American books, and I have our former host of Indigenous Freedom Radio, Uncle Gene Randall, who comes and talks about that. And I suppose there's nothing unique about this except that I'm an Old English professor and I read the books very carefully, make notes on them, and the authors come in and are like, "Oh, you really read my book."
It means a lot.
And I guess when they go on other kinds of media, it's like, "Oh, you read a book. You wrote a book. What is it about?"
I don't think for a moment anybody that experiences KZSM should ever go into it thinking that the hosts do not know what they're talking about, except for me that one time many years ago. Because that's the beauty of the community relationship here. And you do your due diligence. You do know these artists.
And I've learned a lot, actually, particularly about Texas history. Do you know what the runaway scrape was?
No.
A whole group of families, women and children, thought during the Texas Revolution, the fight for Texas independence with Mexico, that Santa Anna was coming. Right. And so they fled towards Louisiana. Didn't really happen, but then they came back. And I've learned this from reading novels about Texas.
Right.
like Elizabeth Crook and others.
And you said nothing really special, but I have to tell you, one of my favorite memories of being part of KZSM was coming in and doing a live reading of A Christmas Carol on the radio during your show with several other people. That was so amazing. See, I'm talking about it and I'm getting goosebumps.
We'll do it again. We'll do it again this year. Maybe it's your turn to be Tiny Tim.
I don't think so. But yeah, I mean, it was just so much fun. And also at Christmas time or the holidays, however you preface that, you also have people do book readings, Christmas stories. And
whatever we can find, a whole collection, everything from there's a memoir, and I'll remember the name of the writer after the show, of course, but there's a first-person account of the Christmas truce that took place during World War I.
Wow.
The men in the trenches who were close enough started talking to each other, actually went out, had a soccer game, and it's a wonderful thing to read. It always makes me cry.
Wow.
Read at Christmas, and that we do that, and funny things, and of course somebody always reads The Grinch, and you memorably insist on the night before Christmas.
That one's near and dear to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Call My Phone at Christmas time. I have a rendition that I wrote to that cadence. It is an amazing, wonderful show that Priscilla puts out. And when does that air, Priscilla?
Tuesdays 4 to 5.
4 to 5 Central Standard Time. Yes. So all of these shows, you want to take note. And at KZSM.org, you have the programming listed there. It's 24/7. There are plenty of live shows that happen in the studio, but a lot of encores and a lot of other things going on. It's very informative to go to KZSM.org. Jeremy Garret, AKA Ray Howard. Yes. Tell us about your show.
My show is called Into the Gray. It is a lot of different things, but I think ultimately I am trying to find what can bring us together and what's pushing us apart. And what I mean is, our country has been separated for several years now, and I believe music brings us together.
Universal language.
It reminds us of good times and people that maybe we're estranged from, and maybe hearing a song on Into the Gray will entice you to pick up the phone and call your uncle or your sister or your former roommate or whoever it may be and find some common ground. But I also, every week I play bands that are coming into the area, brand new music that's come out. It just depends.
Very diverse.
Yeah, and I mean, this really comes to the freedom that we're given at KZSM, because I can just come in and do a show about how I'm feeling that day if I want. Our rules are, no curse words, and really other than that, it's free speech and everything that it's supposed to be on the radio waves.
Entertain, enlighten, and engage for 1 hour.
Our mission is entertain, enlighten, and engage. And so that's really what I try to do. Maybe sometimes I'm the only one that's entertained. I can't help that. But anyway, it's great. And I will say the Ray Howard thing, when I became a part of the KZSM organization, I had recently dealt with a lot of loss, and the Ray Howard are my grandfather's two names. I just combined
really special.
That. Anyway.
What a nod to them. And I have to say, and this is almost embarrassing, but I'm amongst family here in saying I am just now getting the gray. I am just now understanding that life isn't black and white. There's a gray crossover. And honestly, I was at the station for many years and I'm just now getting that. Sorry, into the gray.
Oh, that's okay.
In my mind, it was always like into a mist or something, but not into the gray. Wow, hello.
Well, some people think that I'm Ray Gray. So anyway, it is what it is. Just listen to the music and have a good time. That's what I want to do.
But Jeremy, your show has kind of evolved over the years. You went real heavy when it was the impeachment of Donald Trump and the articles of impeachment, and you thought that folks needed to know and hear about that. You'd do that, and then you'd mix in a few songs, and now it's more of the songs with the less of the statements. But it's evolved over the years.
Well, that feedback was, you know, I can have my point of view, but the music was a bigger hit than the politics.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and again, you know, it's community driven. Your station and your shows are community driven. You know, we the people, and it resonates in that space. So we're going to go to the other side of KZSM now.
The other side.
Yeah.
The dark side.
No. Jeremy here, AKA Ray Howard, is the president of the board, still serving?
Yes.
Yes. And what is the governing board's name?
SMTXCRA, well, San Marcos, Texas Community Radio Association.
I could never get the,
It just rolls off the tongue.
Not ever for me. I think it's the disconnect in my brain. I don't know. So you are the president of the board.
I am.
And how long have you been serving?
This is coming up on the end of my 2 years. It's every year a term. We're limited to 3. I'll throw my hat in the ring for another. People have to want me, so we'll see. But it's something new. For sure.
The changes that have occurred over your term have been quite significant, because KZSM, how many years ago did the little podcast studio start out? I mean, how many years ago did KZSM start? I think, Rob, you're probably the best to speak to the history of KZSM.
So Dave Newman had, the original was the small video podcast was what we were doing, was video.
Right.
And that was back in the 2010, 2011 time frame. And so that was where I had We the People was one of the shows on at that time. Dave Newman had that. It didn't really go. He called me up at about 2014 and said, hey, we've got an opportunity to redo this, but just with the radio only, with the low power FM. And so we built the low power FM radio station there, and got the transmitter in place.
Hold on, before we get too technical in all of that, okay? Low powered FM. Can you explain to the listeners, or excuse me, old language, to the audience members, what low powered means, what the difference is between LPFM and FM?
LPFM stations generally are capped at 100 watts, and so for us, it means that we do not go out any further than the general San Marcos area. Our transmitter is up on top of the roof in a downtown building, and we go out to the outlet malls, we go out to Martindale, we go out to Kyle. But that's that low in power that we have. And so what that was the FCC would put that up there because we had these renegade radio stations. We had pirate radio stations, and one of those was Kind Radio there in San Marcos. And so the FCC came in and shut those down. And then they had to come up with a new way that we could do this. And so they had, you've got to apply and do it official, but it's a low power. It's not thousands of watts that you hear out of these
smaller geographical reach, but.
So the low power FM was created to give towns like San Marcos, when the Telecommunications Act of 1996 changed, that allowed the conglomeration, meaning companies could buy up all the radio stations in one area. And so many of the mom and pops and small town radio stations were bought up. And even to this day, you go to places away from the metros, and what you'll hear is programming that's sent all over the nation for these stations. So the low power FM was created to give community
power to the smaller.
Yes, and it is for emergency services, but it is also to promote local culture, all the things that the FCC is
Beautiful.
actually supposed to do in its founding way back in the 20s and 30s.
Beautiful. So it gives power back to the people of the community,
does.
so that it's not a conglomerate. It's not a.
One of the rules is you have to have a board, and all board members must live in that community.
I am noticing a uptick of, and maybe you can help explain what's going on now with, like, Lockhart, and I mean, I'm hearing chatter about a lot more low power FM stations actually coming to being. Are the licenses suddenly freed up, or are they getting back to their roots about what this originally was about?
Originally, then, in 2014, when we first applied, that was the first time that the FCC set this up. They've recently just had one more time that they've opened up, 10 years later, for new low-power FM stations.
This is what KZSM was waiting for. I mean, this little station that could and did eventually, and under your, actually these two people here, Priscilla and Jeremy. Priscilla, you were instrumental in laying the foundation. Not that all of the eons beyond before weren't contributory. I mean, we were building our audience, we were building a listenership, but then under your foundational leadership, which you did prior to Jeremy, you were instrumental in laying the groundwork and getting grants and doing all the things.
Yeah, the essential thing that's worth remembering is that the license that we have now was given to us by the city of San Marcos. I make that sound simple,
right?
but it took a lot of doing. And they got a license, I believe it was in something like 2015 after a flood, because they felt, well, we need to have emergency radio available in times like this. And then for some reason, city bureaucracy, something, they didn't make much use of it. So finally, after a lot of back and forth and a lot of negotiation, we're community radio, they're the community. They gave us the license. It's just a little over a year, isn't it?
November 1st was 1 year of being on the air.
So it was a big thing for us.
Being on air, being official, and that led to so much credibility in the community, so much acknowledgement and embracing, because how many years was KZSM, the little studio front there? How many years was it?
Well, we've been on 8 years here, coming up on January 1st. It'll be our 8th season that we've been going.
For 7 years, you've been building your audience around the world, not just in San Marcos. So this LPFM licensing empowered and enabled your place in the community.
Wow, you can hear us on the radio.
It did separate us from just a studio where podcasts were made. Having the FM license legitimized what we had been doing and working for, and the artists and the musicians and the people that are coming in view us
as a real radio station now.
Yeah.
Real credibility.
Right.
I had some guys come in on Thursday into the radio station, and they had their show coming up. And one of the artists said, yeah, I heard your song playing here. It was one of our new ones from At a Place is the name of the band, and they had sent us in the music for It's What's New. I was playing that, he heard it on the air, and he said, yeah, I heard it coming in, I heard your song.
Exactly.
That's that connection.
Right, well, it's also being able to, and I realize everything streams now, everything is Bluetooth, and everything is available everywhere, but I can't tell you the feeling of hearing your own voice as a host, hearing your own voice on the radio with a clear signal that isn't reliant upon Bluetooth, And I think that I would imagine being a community member of San Marcos. I was a transplant. I work in San Marcos at the university every day. And then I would stay around into San Marcos on Friday nights to do my show. So I wasn't really in the community. I was peripherally involved. And it's wonderful to be able to turn my radio. I actually brought my radio from home into my office workplace so that I could have it turned on and tuned into 104.1 because I can hear the station. And it's such a beautiful thing not to be listening to it on my computer. Not that there's anything wrong with that. And I hope that everybody outside the area will be inspired to look up KZSM.org online and see the programming because, oh my gosh, you guys have so many shows that just cover everything. Tell me about some of the shows that you have.
I just want to say this, and then obviously I'm biased, but in my real day job, I travel, I'm in my vehicle a lot. I listen to the radio a lot. The programming that we are producing, it is really, truly amazing. I know I am biased, but the things that I hear, sometimes I think it's a different radio station. It's so good. I think, no way is this local community San Marcos, and then oh, you're listening to KZSM.
There it is.
And
right?
so I'm like, wow,
that reality check.
You really should check it out. If you're not, my personal, so as a president, however much longer I am, I'm thinking of the long term. And we have the university, as you mentioned, in our town. San Marcos, the community itself, is a great town. But we do have, and this is just my own personal thoughts, we have what I call the Texas State Diaspora. And these people, they come from all over the world, all over the state. They're in San Marcos for 4 or 5 years, and then they go and they leave. But now we have a way for them to stay a part of the San Marcos community forever. So that's where the streaming, the KZSM.org.
Absolutely.
And I feel like as the age of the station grows and all that, that footprint that we have.
Absolutely. Oh my God.
It's always going to give people that you leave San Marcos, when you leave San Marcos, a part of you stays there. It is a great town. It really is. You can be in New York City, you can be in New Brunswick, you can be wherever, and you can always come to the radio station and hear a little piece of home.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it also, the reach for the creatives that come onto the show, you know, it isn't simply, although it's a great voice and a great stage for the musicians in San Marcos, Texas. It's a wonderful thing and how fun for them to hear themselves on the radio. But then we have such a diverse, expansive, creative circle in the Hill Country that it's amazing to be able to come into the studio, become part of the family, and still be streamed out into the rest of the world. It's an amazing thing.
We've got the First Tuesday SMTX film series, where at the Price Center they have this wonderful film that Jeff puts on each month. I've got this next Tuesday is the John Ailey Experience, because they delayed it for 2 weeks because of the election. But John Ailey from KUTX here in Austin, and so he comes in. Jeff comes in, gets on the radio show and talks on Thursdays about, hey, this is what's coming up next Tuesday. Talks about the movies and about being there as an independent filmmaker in San Marcos and being able to have this environment that people can come down and catch a movie. We can talk about it on the radio and promote those things. We've got the little flyers there that no matter whose show it is, hey, yeah, this is what's coming up this next Tuesday. That's those kind of things that is that community radio station storefront that we do.
We see, I throw myself in there. KZSM also had the programming is so diverse. They involve the community members. Do you have something, and forgive me if I'm misspeaking, don't you have something that from the city that comes in and talks about programming? You've got Metal Mark, who covers the metal music scene. A lot of his guests come up from San Antonio, but he does stuff on the street and plays music on the curb, and then the music festivals or the fundraising that y'all do through these music festivals. I mean, KZSM has long. I remember years ago in Kyle partnering with the Make-A-Wish Foundation and them building the Ash Pavilion, where they just had a party there Friday night. All of town heard it in Kyle. But I mean, KZSM has been around for a long time, and it's been making a place. And I just feel so proud and so happy for y'all that it's now legitimately, it's got those numbers.
And it's also for shows about the community, right? Oasis tonight. We're going to be talking mariachi, and we've got someone coming in there that has was on a show about reality show about mariachis, and she's part of the Texas State mariachi team there. And
I've read about her in our newsletter at the university.
That's how she got the scholarships, was through mariachi. So she's going to be on and talking about that today on Oasis, and that is about Hispanics in the community and what is the story? Where have we been? Where are we at? And where are we going with the minority community? And Kathy hosts that each week. We have all of these. We have the science stories. We have, the book.
The one I keep thinking of is Wonderful World.
Oh, yes.
Which is hosted by Diane Wassenaar, who is the person who sort of founded the San Marcos
River
Foundation.
Wow.
And I love that she picked that for her theme, that it's a wonderful world, something at least hopeful, but it's all about, she has people who are working with the local environment come in and talk about it.
See, this is community radio. This is so foundational and so core and such a beautiful thing. I am so glad that y'all are here with us. Y'all, we're going to give you a minute. We're going to give you some more music videos. Cue David. And we will be right back with these wonderful hosts from KZSM Music Radio, 104.1 FM. Stay with us.
this?
Trouble always found me, wouldn't let me be like Amy Lemons, and all it did was squeeze every ounce of joy out of every day. Then you came along, I've undergone a miraculous change. You lifted up my frown and turned my blue eyes back to brown. Many tried to tell me, give up on love. Aren't you a little too old, honey, to be thinking of someone who'll be true and share their heart? Might as well be wishing on the next shooting star. You see, you lifted up my frown and turned my blue eyes back to brown. Come on now. You give me everything I desire. You bring out the best in me, and baby, let it fire down deep in my soul. You're the rock in my roll. To me you belong. I wrote down this song so everyone will know. You lifted up my frown and turned my blue eyes back to brown. You lifted up my frown and turned my blue eyes back to brown.
That was awesome, wasn't it? I love these music videos. I promise you we are getting new material like a lot, and I will get some out to you. I'll make sure that David, my editor, is up on that so that he can keep feeding you those videos because they are so awesome. I am sitting here with the some of the crew from KZSM, and it's come to my attention, and I apologize profusely. I keep saying KZSM Music Radio, but it's so much more than the music. It's talk radio, it's books, it's community action, it's inspiration on the airwaves. So please forgive me, please forgive me. I am so sorry. It is so much more than music radio, and I don't know why that stuck in my head like it is.
Because
Crazy.
you know so much about music.
I don't know. Yeah. I'd like to think I know it all. So,
yeah.
you know, I should be,
I think you know it all.
I think that, you know, I should have my mindset expanded. So what we have not mentioned previously is that everybody that's involved at KZSM who is doing the shows, who's serving on the board, they're all volunteers. There's only one position at the station that is not volunteer, and that's
Station manager.
Station manager, which Rob Roark is the station manager. So he can truly speak well to people that come every day in and out of the studio, because he is not just there for the multitude of programs that he hosts and puts together. He is managing the station. So tell me collectively, y'all, and we'll go to you first, about the future for KZSM, or community radio.
You know, there's two ways. I see great growth. The music world, believe it or not, has taken notice of us, and I feel like we can bring tourism into San Marcos. We can bring some outside dollars into San Marcos with what we're doing. This is the president and me talking. We have to survive because we are all volunteers, and we get our money, underwriting, grants, this and that. I really thought getting on the air would get the business community behind us a little more. And so I'm seeing my weaknesses as president. We have to work on volunteers, bringing in more volunteers, and we have to work on fundraising. But I feel like our programming is definitely headed in the right direction. And our listenership, I mean, we don't know how many people are truly listening on the radio because they don't have ratings for what their low power FM. But we do see our streaming numbers have grown every single month since we went on the air. So we know that people
phenomenal.
I say the future is bright.
So you had mentioned that you just celebrated 1 year. I hope there was a party, because that was definitely an acknowledgement worth making.
Can we talk about that for just a second? So we did have a party, and it was you were there. It was the inaugural San Marcos Music Awards. That was kind of our kickoff to the city to say, hey, we're here.
Oh, okay.
Did
Well,
you
no,
not?
I'm talking about an anniversary party.
Oh, no. Well, that'll be year 2 of our 2nd annual San Marcos Music Awards.
And yeah, we need to talk about those music awards. Oh my gosh. But you just threw me for a loop. It's like, no, you didn't have a party.
I thought you meant the kickoff party.
Oh no, that definitely was a banging event. But so the future of this studio is my happy place, folks. This is my happy place. I start getting so amped up on the drive-in on Sundays. Everything prior to that is work, okay? The website, the social media, the booking the gigs, all of the prep work that goes into this show is kind of workish, okay? But I got to tell you, coming into this studio, this is my sandbox, this is my playground, this is my happy place. The radio station for so many years, KZSM, was my happy place. Still is. When I walk in there, you still get that. It's kind of like when you walk onto the streets of a city, you kind of feel that vibration get going on you. You know, it doesn't matter if you're from the country or the city. When you enter the city, there is a hum, there's a vibration, there's an excitement. Just like it is here when I come in, or just like at the radio station. So it was a playground for so many years. But now, as we're talking about the future of KZSM, and having just celebrated 1 year, 1 full year of being acknowledged by the community as a radio station, now you're rolling up your sleeves, and so the future is work, man. There's work to be done in a different context, in a different way.
It's a lot of work.
Yes,
it really is.
Yes, and it was probably things that, I don't know. The thought about it's kind of like, when you're talking about or thinking about moving to a city. Okay, I'll use this analogy. You're thinking about having kids. You see people with kids. Oh, that looks like fun. I think that's for me. I think I could do that. Until you have kids, and then you're wiping butts and you're cleaning up puke and you're staying up all night. Not that there isn't so much more to having kids. It's just the reality of now it's arrived. It's not just an idea or a thought or something that you want to plan for. And that's kind of growing pains of.
Yeah, I mean, we're building an organization. And what that means is, when we were coming to be, it was a lot of, we'll just throw some ideas against the wall and see what sticks. And now we really are, it's procedures, it's every single thing you have to think about, training procedures,
It's
you
sustainability.
name it.
We've got to sustain this. It was, yes, we just were keeping going. Now, hey, we've got that baseline, we've got everything going, but then what's the next generation? Okay, and you have this within the community. We have an ebb and flow. We have people come and do their shows, and then they no longer do the shows. They're going somewhere else. They've moved, or they were there at the university as students. Now they're going off somewhere else.
Yeah.
So we have to be able to, for the future, for us to sustain this, is to make sure that we've got the procedures and the policies in place,
Absolutely.
that we can train, that we have a flow of people coming in and acknowledging
The
that,
rule
hey,
book.
Exactly those kind of things.
Y'all, it has been such an incredible pleasure to have you in the studio here today. My heart is still with KZSM. A better group of people I don't think you can find. the family, even as members leave the family, they're still part of the family. They're still part of the experience, and it is an experience. All the way around, it's an experience. And people come and people go. Family members move, they move back. I mean, it's fluid, and I think that it's a testimony to the stick-to-itiveness and the awesomeness as we've watched KZSM grow into an amazing community radio station, not just a music radio. Y'all, I look forward to hearing what comes out of KZSM and watching it continue to grow. It's been such a pleasure being part of it. And again, I'm just thrilled to death that y'all are here today, and thank you for sharing your story, your shows.
Thank you for having us.
And what it means to be a community radio. All right, folks, that's it for this episode, and I hope that you've enjoyed meeting these guys. I hope that you'll check it out. I hope that it's more than just listening for an hour. I hope that you'll get invested and go to kzsm.org and look at the shows this station is putting out. Explore possibilities where you're at. Find ways to get involved with your community and ways to roll up your sleeves and just do it. Just do something. Get involved. Time for being on the sidelines is kind of past. You know what I mean? So till next time, bye.
We hope your new realtor plays drums in a band. We hope your new dentist is its front man. We hope live music always makes you proud. Just don't call the cops if you think it's too loud. South by South by South by Southwest. We hope you like it so much you'll move here just like the rest of us non-native Texans.